ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Welcome into this Monday, July 8th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Hope you guys had a great Independence holiday weekend. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We're going to get your text in this hour. We'll do that at 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. Going to be open text line throughout the show. We got a lot to catch up on, so we'll do that. We'll start off with the Coal Cats. Not been good as of late for your Tri-State Coal Cats. The Coal Cats losers yesterday. They lost to Bluefield 2-1. They have now lost the last 5 games. They also have lost 7 out of 10. So it's not been good for your Coal Cats. Tommy spoke to the media yesterday, Tommy Gregg, and he discussed the game as well. He had some positives. I mean, it's a developmental league after all. So he talked about it as being well-rounded performance, and he mentioned it was a pitcher's duel, and he did highlight Bluefield's advantage with runners in scoring position.
I thought it was a well-played game. We had a chance there at the end to win it. I thought it was more of a pitcher's duel. Pitcher was really good. He spotted up. He threw strikes. Josh McDivitt started out great, and then hit a batter, gave up those couple runs. They did a good job hitting with men in scoring position, going the other way, getting a couple runs, and then we battled back, got a run. Of course, we just couldn't come through right there at the end. But I thought it was a well-played game, well-pitched game.
McDevitt, he went through Bluefield in the first part of the game. He allowed only 2 singles. He did fan 5 batters in those first 3 innings. Tommy also had some praise for pitcher Joe Gomez. He pitched 3 innings, and he talked about his improvement with the fastball, the curveball, and he also expressed some admiration for his confidence out there.
Yeah, he's been throwing great. I mean, knock on wood, the kid comes in, and he gave us 3 innings. And the only reason he went 3 is because it's a pitch count, and he was feeling fine. So he'll have a few days rest, but every time he comes in now, he's more confident. His curveball's really good, spotting up his fastball. He hit a couple batters, but came right back and got a ground ball double play. So that's what it's all about. He kept his composure and just did a great job, and that saved our pitching a little bit. So,
got to go on the road now. And I'm not a fan of how this schedule worked out. I know, new kid in town, the Coal Cats. And it seemed like it was front-loaded home games the first part of the season. I would have liked to seen it spread out a little bit more, try to balance it as best you can. But now the team's got to go on the road. They've got 3 series coming up. And Tommy addressed that challenge during a losing streak going on the road. And he talked about some things, mistakes, fatigue. He says there's effort there, and this team's got to learn some resilience. So when you go on the road, there's an opportunity for you to learn that resilience.
Yeah, we got to be a road warrior and try to find a way to squeak out a win at some point. This is getting kind of old for everybody, especially me. I mean, I'm not used to losing like this. I don't like losing, but it is what it is. I can only motivate them as much as I can. Get them, but they're not giving up. They play the game hard. There's nothing I see that I say, you don't care about winning. They're playing the game the right way and playing it hard. We're just making mistakes. I think the guys are a little tired. Our defense, we're seeing some mistakes in the infield as far as ground balls, which we didn't see at the beginning of the year. So cleaning that up and just going on the road and trying to be road warriors to get some wins.
We've heard that before. Got to clean that up. So Coal Cats, again, suffering 5th straight loss, 7 out of the last 10. Coal Cats coming up Tuesday, Wednesday, a 2-game series at Johnson City. After they face the Doughboys, they have a Thursday, Friday 2-game series at Elizabethton. So after they wrap that up with the River Riders, they will finish up the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, with a 2-game series at Pulaski, facing off against those dreaded River Turtles. And then they'll be back home July 16th and 17th, Tuesday, Wednesday, versus the River Riders. And, of course, Coldcats need to pick up some wins. They are falling in the standings as we speak. They are right now dead last overall and dead last, obviously, in the East with a 10-19 mark. Danville leads the way with 18 wins, 10 losses. Then Bluefield right behind them at 17-12. And then you got some ground to try to make up, and you got to try to catch at least Bluefield if you want to have a shot at getting into the postseason. But Burlington's 15-14. They're a little bit over 500, and Pulaski is 13-15. So it's doable. But they're running out of games. Obviously, we've got the rest of this month, and then that's going to be it. 2 months, and it's over. On the west side, Greenville leads the way with an 18-9 mark, and then Kingsport comes up second, 15-13, and then the rest of the way, the Doughboys, Johnson City, they're 13-14. Elizabethton, the River Riders, are 11-17, and Bristol, the State Liners, are 11-18. So what does that mean for your Coldcats? Obviously, you look at Johnson City, they're 13-14, so they're a little bit below 500. They're not blowing people away. Elizabethton, they're 11-17. They're only one win better than you. You could possibly get a series win in that one. And then Pulaski, the River Turtles, you got to get that one because they're ahead of you. They're 13-15 right now. We don't know what's going to look like when Tri-State gets to Pulaski, but they could probably get that series and then maybe work their way up a little bit, but they're going to have to make some hay. They're going to have to on the road, 6-game road stretch. I don't know if they can win all 3 series. They look like they are winnable. They've got to start winning now, and they're going to have to turn things around if they want to have a shot at winning the championship. And, of course, I think that's the fun of this league. It's a short-season league. You get a couple of months of baseball, and there are only, I believe, 6 more home dates for the Coldcats. So you don't have that many opportunities left to go see them. And we'll have those 6 games right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So we'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got a lot of things to catch up on. We will do that with you when we continue. The herd getting bigger. The herd's always getting bigger, so we'll talk about that. And we're not just talking about football. We'll talk about basketball as well. An official addition to the basketball roster. And, of course, we want to hear from you. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Hurry in and save big at Menards. Owens Corning architectural shingles are designed to offer long-lasting performance while providing ultimate protection. They have a limited lifetime warranty and up to a 130 miles per hour wind warranty. Choose from over 40 options designed to protect your home. Save big on shingles at Menards. #1 in customer satisfaction among home improvement retailers, according to J.D. Power. For more information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So, I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Let the good times roll. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West Ninth Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday at City Heat. Music starts at 7 on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kid Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for Friday, August 2nd, when 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity, and Kindred Communications.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Hey, welcome back to our Monday edition. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Hope you had a wonderful extended weekend. We're back to business now. We'll get your text in this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. What did you do with the extended weekend? There really wasn't that much as far as sports were concerned. A little baseball, of course, for those of you maybe following the wrestling ranks. You watched a little bit of the wrestling pay-per-view this weekend. Not much happening as far as the sports were concerned. Again, we're right here in the middle of summer. Of course, we have baseball to keep an eye on, but after 4th of July, we're getting closer to the start of football season. So things are starting to finally turn our way, and we'll be talking about herd football almost daily. I think here in the next few weeks, we're going to definitely have a lot more to get into. And, of course, with social media, we always seem to have something we can pull on. And today, no exception, the herd getting bigger. You love it when you see the Steph Curry. At this point, has Coach Huff gone through every Steph Curry GIF? Or GIF, for those of you who pronounce it that way. Has every Steph Curry image imaginable been used by Coach Huff at this point, or there's still more out there that he can pull from? Well, the herd gets bigger. Class of 2025 is signee with the Thundering Herd. Mekhi Lockhart, he's a defensive lineman. He is out of Winter Park, Florida. Went to Winter Park High School. He is rated as 6'4", 290 pounds. He's the class of 2025, as we mentioned. He visited Marshall back on June 12th. He had some offers. UMass and UConn were looking at him as well. So he decided to sign with the Thundering Herd. So there's an addition there. And then something we already knew. If you listened to the show last week, we had Marshall men's basketball coach Cornelius Jackson with us. And he alluded to this, and he talked about some of his new signees. Well, it's official now. Sometimes Coach will mention a couple of things, and then, of course, we get the official release when everything is good. Caden White, who is regarded as a combo guard, class of 2024 out of Orlando, Florida. Went to Olympia High School, and he was the second leading scorer at Olympia during his senior season, managed 13 points a game. Also was able to bring down 4 assists to his stat column. And he was named Orlando Sentinel All-Area First Team. So highly regarded. 13th in the state of Florida in charges drawn in the 23-24 season. That is a stat. We're going to have to keep track of that stat now. 19th in the state of Florida in total assist. That's good. Playmaker. We like that. 31st in the state of Florida in assists per game. We like that as well. And 28th in the state of Florida in three-point shots made. I like that. Not attempted, made. I'm good with that. I'd rather have a low attempt ratio and more makes than, there are players that'll just chuck it up there, hope it goes in. I like a little precision with my three-point shot. You know what I'm saying? Olympia High School went 20-9. They had, for their 4th straight year, a 20-win season. They were the 7A Region 2 runner-up, Elite 8 for the first time in 15 years, and they were the back-to-back Metro champs and ranked 34th in the 7A state rankings. That's pretty impressive. So we count 9 additions now to the Thundering Herd. You go down the list with Caden. So you have a freshman guard, and then Dezane Mingo, junior guard. He's the young man out of the University of Guelph Griffins. And then, of course, Jalen Spear. He comes in, graduate student. He's a guard. Michael Dawson, senior out of Akron. That's a good pickup. Cade Gibbs is coming in. He is a senior forward. A lot of guards on this team. Jacob Gibbs is rated as a guard. Kai Spears is a guard. Will Moore is a guard. The Harding kid, he's 6'10". He is a freshman forward. And, of course, I'm sure positions will change with this team. But that's 9 new additions to the Thundering Herd. We knew that this would be, and I don't want to use that term rebuild, because with the transfer portal every year, it seems like it's a rebuild. And I don't want to use reload either. Every year, the transfer portal is going to give you new opportunities. Your team didn't work out for you this year. Well, the transfer portal can help you fix that. Team worked out for you this year. Well, hope you were able to retain him. If not, you're going to have to go into the transfer portal. So that's 9 new additions for the Thundering Herd and this upcoming season. So my question to you is, would this team look like this under the old coaching staff? Would Dan D'Antoni use the portal in this way? Or would Dan have tried to retain more of his players? Dan was a little old school. Again, he's forgotten more basketball knowledge than a lot of us ever knew. But this is I think a strong effort to bring in a nice mix of kids that are going to be freshmen coming out of high school. At the same time, you're bringing in some kids with experience. When you look at these newcomers, I count 3 seniors. I count 1 grad student. I count a junior. So you've got some experience there. So Dawson's not here for long. Gibbs isn't here for long. Gibbs, and I'm talking about both Gibbs, Cade and Jacob. Both Gibbs are not here for long. Mingo might stick around. And, of course, you got the freshman you're going to try to retain. Kai Spears is a junior. I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, he made a decision to leave Alabama, come to Marshall. Could have stayed at Alabama, kind of believed in what was happening with Marshall. And, of course, Kai Spears, the son of Marshall Athletic Director Christian Spears. And I'm sure that helped with the transition. Maybe played a part of it. Hey, I think I want to be closer to Dad. I like what's happening at Marshall. I think I got a shot there. whatever your reason may be. So this is going to be a team with some senior leadership if you can get it to come together and gel. And I think you've got some room for growth as well with the freshmen. And, of course, you bring back, and we don't talk about this enough, you bring back Nate Martin, Obina Anachili-Killen. I love that combo right there. If I'm trying to build a basketball team around a couple of guys, I got Obina and I got Nate. I think I feel good. I think I feel good if I can surround them with some role players. I can surround them with some good defensive players. I can get them in some good positions to build my offense around as well. I think just on paper, I like where we're going with this. Is this flashy? Maybe not. Does this look solid? It really does. And, of course, I like the additions to the staff as well for Coach Jackson, especially bringing in Rob Fulford. Yeah, I really like that hire. It makes lots of sense. Now, will it make sense come tip-off? We'll find out. Hurd's going to be involved in, I think, an interesting situation because it's going to be new, not only from a coaching standpoint, a player standpoint, and I think that's going to be the new norm. Absolutely going to be the new norm. We're going to have to get used to that because now we're going to see so much turnover, and I don't think it's going back. Years past, growing up, kids would come in, and you would see them from freshman to senior, and you would build your affection for this team, your following, your passion for this team because you're watching these kids. They come in, and they're with you almost for the entire ride. I mean, there would be players who would leave now and then, but few and far between. So I think that's going to be a challenge for this Thundering Herd to make sure that the excitement's there. They're playing some good basketball that will keep fans coming back and maybe bring more fans in. I mean, it's definitely an opportunity to re-energize the basketball program. You always bring in a new coach. You want to see a revitalization. Even if you have a good program, you want to see a revitalization. You want to get a bump from a coach. So you bring in a familiar coach, someone who has already an idea of what they want to do, somebody who has a connection to the university. And Cornelius Jackson, you surround him with some good people, good assistant coaches. You bring in some players from the transfer portal now. You do your due diligence also, and you bring some kids in from the high school ranks. You don't want to depend totally on the transfer portal. You'd like the opportunity to try to bring players in you can develop as well. I think this is a good blend so far. And if you missed that interview with Coach Jackson, you can go back and listen to it. It's on our podcast. That's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcast. And speaking of players that played basketball for the Thundering Herd, we're piecing together bit by bit the Herd That roster. And I love the addition of DeAndre Kane. He was one of my favorites when he played at Marshall. Played at Marshall for a few years, and he finished at Iowa State. But still, I thought one of my favorite Marshall players from the time. We're just talking about the freshman of the year in Conference USA. So now the roster looks like it's almost complete. There's some names on here. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and we'll get your text in 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Are you getting excited? The TBT is almost here. Are you getting excited for that? Is there a buzz? Games are going to be close. You can go to Lexington, watch those games. It's not going to be far, so you can get to the TBT and see if you can watch the Thundering Herd alumni team and friends try to make a run again. So are you excited? Is DeAndre Kane the piece that maybe puts this team over? After all, he is a 4-time TBT champion. He knows what it feels like and what it means to win this thing, and he still comes back for more. We'll get into that when we continue. And your text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. This is The Drive. Thanks for tuning in on a Monday. We're getting back to work after a long weekend. Thanks for making us a part of it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
Gotta be fresh.
Open till midnight or later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary by location.
Planning for a funeral is never easy, and selecting the right mortuary can be important. Family owned and operated for over 6 decades, our family has helped other families going through the most difficult time. Chapman's Mortuary and Crematory can help you plan arrangements today or offer a pre-need funeral plan in line with your intimate wishes. And now, we provide Huntington's only on-site crematory. Call us for a free consultation. Chapman's Mortuary and Crematory, serving the tri-state for over 60 years.
I juggle a lot. And managing constipation with belly pain from my irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, with laxatives and fiber isn't enough. My doctor recommended a way to get ahead of it. Then I said yes to Linzess.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Let the good times roll. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West Ninth Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday at City Heat. Music starts at 7 on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kid Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for Friday, August 2nd, when 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thunder and Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity, and Kindred Communications.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Monday edition. It is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We are getting your text in this hour. We'll do that at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Baseball action earlier today on the Big 930 as the Pirates beat the Mets 8-2. Pirates are going to be in Milwaukee. That's coming up tomorrow. We're going to go on the air a little later than usual. 7:45 is our airtime. You can listen to that game right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Last night, the Cincinnati Reds fell to the Detroit Tigers 5-1. I saw on social media, I can't remember the account I was looking at. Somebody I follow on Facebook, I think. If it's you, let me know. But someone I follow took their son to their first Cincinnati Reds game, and their son said that the Detroit Bengals beat the Cincinnati Reds 5-1. I thought that was hilarious. I'll have to throw that by Spencer Atkins, a famous weatherman and Detroit supporter. So the Reds fall to the Tigers, the Tigers, the Bengals, whatever you want to call them, 5-1. Guardians got the win over San Francisco yesterday, 5-4. We've got the Reds and the Rockies coming up, game one of a four-game series. That's at 7:10. The Guardians taking on those Detroit Tigers at 6:40. That is game one of their four-game set. Speaking of baseball, MLB All-Star selections, Paul Swann became the first player to be named an All-Star the season after being selected first overall in the draft. He is a get for the Pirates. I hope that the Pirates can hang on to him, but at the same time, they're going to have to make sure that they pony up a lot of cash. And if I'm Skeens, I'm making sure that I keep all my options open because he has just been super good. I mean, after all, he's an all-star now. They just don't hand that out. Brian Reynolds actually having a good season, I think, is on the all-star team as well. And then Elide La Cruz is representing the Reds, and then the Guardians and the American have 5 players, including 2 starters and Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan. So they're starting for the American League. Of course, I'm a National League guy. I root for the Pro League. Never been an American guy. Is that still a thing? Is that just a relic of days gone by? Because with interleague, it kind of kills it now. I mean, everybody plays everybody, just about. It's not fun anymore. I mean, it is and it isn't, but it's not as like the World Series was cool because you never knew what the matchup would be. You could have 2 teams that had not faced off for years, and they would play, and that was pretty cool. So now, of course, you got interleague, you got opportunities to face teams. I almost would wish that baseball would just, I know this is going to be heresy for some of the baseball purists out there. I'd just like to see the whole league reorganize, make it make sense. Put the Guardians and the Pirates and the Reds in the same division. Put them all together. Just make it make sense. Can you make it make sense? Have the Mets and the Yankees make it make sense. Put them together. That's just me. Of course, Pirates baseball, we've got it for you coming up tomorrow. Again, 7:45 is going to be our airtime right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And yeah, I'm actually interested in the home run derby this year. I saw where Todd Frazier is going to be part of that coverage. So he's joining the coverage. I used to not watch the home run derby because, with all respect to Chris Berman, he is a giant and a pioneer in the broadcasting industry. I could not stand listening to Chris Berman do baseball and do the home run derby. I could not stand him. I think watching him do Friday night highlights something on SportsCenter back in the day, that was cool. I think him doing the NFL show, that was cool. The nicknames were cool. Him, Tom Jackson, that stuff was cool. Him doing no, I could not handle him doing the home run derby. So I think Major League Baseball and ESPN have gotten it right a little bit. But I'm interested to hear what his call will be. So he's going to join the broadcast crew. Of course, he won the Derby in 2015 with the Reds. And you know what? He did it at Great American Ballpark, which made it even more special. So here's a guy who's won the Derby before, different set of rules. He's had a good start in his second career, making the transition. Sometimes athletes can make that transition right away into the broadcast booth. Others, maybe not so much. There's a lot of insight and knowledge there. Played with the Reds, played with the White Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, won the home run derby. The guy, he's got a pretty good resume. So I'm excited actually to listen to the home run derby. And we'll have that and the All-Star game over on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So I promise you we talk a little bit about the TBT today. And we saw the news, DeAndre Kane, he's going to be part of the Heard That roster. So this is what the roster looks like so far. You got John Elmore, Johnny Buckets, one of the all-time greats at Marshall University. You add DeAndre Kane. My mistake, typo in the notes. Rondell Watson, Ryan Taylor, Jared West is on this thing. J.P. Tokoto, Xavier Munford's on this thing. Tyrus McGee's on this thing. We don't have the complete roster. Of course, with Kane, he's got a lot of TBT experience. He's got that Marshall connection. He's got that TBT experience. I mean, he's a 4-time TBT champion. Now he's going to be on the roster. Does that finish it? Does that maybe put that final piece into the TBT? And really, I haven't heard too many people talk about the TBT. So maybe I just haven't noticed the chatter, but are you excited about it? It's going to be in Lexington. They're a number 1 seed. And we've gotten to the point where Heard That is a number 1 seed. That this little team that the Elmores have put together. Where's Ott on this thing? Can we get Ott to play and coach? I think he probably is better served as a coach. I think that was the beginning. The legend of Ott Elmore. That really pushed this thing. But this team looks like it's ready to go. And it's going to be in Lexington. And I think it's going to be a hostile atmosphere because, of course, you got the Kentucky entry into this thing. And there are a lot of people that are kind of excited about that. I bet you Rupp is going to be feeling pretty good. I bet you Kentucky is going to have a run. I mean, I would be energized if I played in that atmosphere. But are you excited about the TBT? And I ask that because I haven't heard that much chatter about the TBT. You can, of course, still buy tickets. That's one thing. You can buy tickets, still available. And if you go to the TBT website right now, this is how excited they are. You can buy tickets for round 1, games 1 and 2. It's a single ticket to get you to both games. And Marshall's game number 2 in that. So games at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. on the 19th. Heard That is game number 2. They take on the Boom. Okay, that's a name. But the UK team, La Familia, that's the team that everyone wants to see. It's game number 4. It's going to be the 8 p.m. game, of course, so the TBT is not dumb. They're playing the times to fit what you need to get a big crowd. So The Auburn team is taking on D2, and then the Kentucky team, La Familia, takes on 305 Ballers. And then, of course, round 2, games 5 and 6 will be Sunday, July 21st. And then Tuesday, July 23rd, the championship of the Lexington Regional will be at 9 p.m. And I honestly think you could have that Marshall-Kentucky matchup. You could have that. If all goes well, you could have that Marshall matchup with Kentucky. Now, of course, I know, again, it's the alumni teams and, with friends. But you could have heard that facing off against Kentucky. Some people's heads might explode around here because we have this phenomenon where there are a lot of Marshall fans that sort of identify Kentucky as the backup team. I don't know too many Kentucky fans in the area that identify Marshall as the backup team. It seems like it's a one-way street. Am I wrong on that? Is that just me hanging out with Bill Cornwell, our news director, way too much? Am I wrong on that? But it feels like, to me at least, there are a lot of people who are Marshall fans that they love Kentucky. And so I'm sure some people's heads might explode here if you get that matchup. And I need to ask our news director. He probably would tell me Marshall. I would hope so. Like, which team would you root for? You rooting for Johnny Buckets and heard that, or you're rooting for UK, the Kentucky team, and the TBT? I'm obviously taking the Marshall team and heard that. That's my team. That's the horse I'm going to ride into this race. But as the 1 seed, they could possibly face off against La Familia. And how much trash will be talked between the Herd fans in the area and the Kentucky fans? Or is this a thing that just hasn't picked up much steam right now, and maybe we're waiting for a full roster, and we'll realize it's getting closer here in the next few weeks? Is this thing as exciting as it used to be? I mean, I remember during the COVID days, this was a lifesaver. Somebody recently asked me about how do you come up with stuff to talk about in the summer months? You hope not for a COVID pandemic, but you hope for stuff like this, like the TBT. And I'm actually curious now. Is there any excitement for this? Is this just business as usual? Or are you going to wait if maybe they get past the Lexington Regional, things start picking up, more excitement for this thing? Does it help that it's in Lexington and that's an easy trip for a lot of people? Does it help? Does the location work against it for you this time around? Do the times work against it for you this time? Our text line's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. But DeAndre Kane, not King, Ben, DeAndre Kane, he's on the team now. I got to point that out to Ben, our intern. He's doing some really good work, and then he writes down DeAndre King on the roster rundown I asked him for. It's all right, Ben. It's all right. We forgive you. Quick timeout. We will continue on with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 at AM 930.
Saving money on automotive products now at Menards. Get superior engine protection with Valvoline Synthetic Blend High Mileage Motor Oil. It's formulated for vehicles with more than 75,000 miles and helps condition and rejuvenate aging engine seals to stop and prevent oil leaks. Save big on Valvoline Motor Oil at Menards. #1 in customer satisfaction among home improvement retailers according to J.D. Power. For more information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Save big money at Menards.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, all dinners served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Let the good times roll. Downtown Huntington's premier weekly music event is back. It's Mount West Night Street Live, presented by New Trail, Garage Beer, Big Truck, The Beast, La Marca Prosecco, and Matua Sauvignon Blanc. This Friday at City Heat. Music starts at 7 on the Marshall OBGYN stage. The Little Caesars Kids Zone is back, and Go-Mart Happy Hour starts at 5. Enjoy food and drinks from the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, Sip Downtown Brasserie, and Summit Beer Station. Mark your calendar for Friday, August 2nd, when 9th Street is Dead, featuring John Ingram's Dead Center and the music of the Grateful Dead. The Thundering Herd Rally is Friday, August 16th. 9th Street Live is driven by Yes Chevy, Yes Ford every Friday night through Labor Day. 9th Street in Huntington between 3rd and 4th Avenues. Sponsored by Delta Hotels, Marshall OBGYN, Wendy's, Mountain Mindful, City of Huntington, Marshall University, Impact Media, Xfinity, and Kindred Communications.
Thoroughbred Express Car Wash. Sign up today and your first month of any membership plan is just $10. Any single wash or membership includes Howard Vacuums, Rhino Mac Cleaner, Cleaner Spray, Microfiber Towels, Bay Trash Cans, and even Air Purge Gun Tools. Follow us online at thoroughbredexpress.com, Facebook, and Instagram for all updates, news, and promos. Thoroughbred Express Car Wash, where every wash is an adventure and every day is a shining opportunity. Check out our locations at Howell Boulevard, Route 60, Hurricane, Hayes Valley, Cross Lanes, Charleston, South Point, Ashland, and Maysville.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Here's another Kindred Communications Community Chatter. The Cabell Huntington Health Department's conducting a series of evening vaccine clinics this summer. The dates are June 3rd, July 1st, August 5th, and September 9th, taking place from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the department at 703 7th Avenue. No appointment is necessary.
This Kindred Communications Community Chatter brought to you by the providers at Marshall OBGYN, online at marshallhealth.com/OBGYN.
Before I was adopted, I felt like my life was already over.
My biggest fear was that I would age out and not know how to be sufficient on my own.
At a certain age, like they don't want you, you're troubled and stuff.
The clock is ticking for the more than 125,000 kids waiting to be adopted from foster care. Help the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption prevent them from aging out without a permanent family. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
People think saving money is hard, but really, it's easy. It's as simple as changing a few spending habits. For free tips on how to save the easy way, check out feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Final segment, today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We have got you covered throughout the week. Our text line this hour, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You've been following along the news coming out of Pittsburgh today that Steelers cornerback Cameron Sutton has been suspended for 8 games without pay by the National Football League for violating the, quote, personal conduct policy. So that comes out today. He's going to be eligible to return on October 29th following the Steelers' Week 8 game against the New York Giants. He actually entered a pretrial diversion program in April. That's related to a misdemeanor battery charge. That is stemming from a domestic violence case, and that's in Florida right now, in Hillsborough County. So the NFL investigates this. They look into the incident, and they concluded that Sutton's actions violated the league's personal conduct policy. Sutton, if you're familiar with him previously with the Lions, he was released after the team learned of the warrant for his arrest. He has signed a 3-year, $33 million deal with Detroit in 2023 And he started every game. He contributed 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 50 tackles. So, I mean, he's a solid player, obviously. He's a good player. The warrant for his arrest was issued on March 7th following an incident where he allegedly battered a woman at a house in Florida before fleeing. He did sign that 1-year deal with the Steelers. It's like a homecoming. He spent several seasons with the Steelers, and he was a starting quarterback. Had 3 interceptions in his final season with the Steelers. So he's back into some trouble. The NFL not playing with its personal conduct policy. And I think this is a good move for the NFL. You don't want to have this linger around too long. This is a good move from the league because you got to take these things seriously. And the NFL will do its own investigation. I'll give the league credit. When it comes to issues like this, the league will go in and do its own due diligence because you want to give the player a fair shake. You obviously don't want to take this lightly. After all, we're talking about an incident. He's allegedly battered a woman in Florida, and then he fled. That's the allegation against him right now. So the NFL investigating and concluded you violated those personal conduct policies, and so it's a privilege, not a right, to play in the NFL. And you are going to be sitting out 8 games. So what's that mean for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Obviously, they've got some work to do with this young man. At the same time, they've got some roster shenanigans to try to come up with, try to reorganize everything. Not that drastically, but still. Definitely a slight blow to the Pittsburgh Steelers on this one. Still the right thing to do. Text lines 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line. We're going to get you back into the show throughout the rest of the week here. We're getting closer to the start of football season, so let's start getting closer to the start of football season, everyone. I know summer months are kind of baseball driven for the most part, but I'm ready for some football, and I'm sure you are as well. I'm ready for some football. I'm ready for some basketball. I'm ready. I am completely ready for the start of football season, and that's high school football, that's NFL football, that's college football, not this stuff they played a few weeks ago in the UFL. I'll even take, I don't know, what other football is there? High school, college, and pro. High school, NCAA, NFL. What else is there? That's all I'll take. That's all I need right now. Give me those 3. And, of course, it gets started sooner than you think. Next month, once we cross into August, it's going to be smooth sailing from here. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited. But we'll be back with you tomorrow here on the show. Tomorrow on the program, John Mercer is going to join us. We're going to talk a little tennis with him because he's got something that's really cool for a father. His son is joining the coaching staff, and his son had a great career at University of Kentucky. And so now he's joining the coaching staff. A tradition maybe of continuing the Mercer legacy of having an outstanding coaching pedigree in the family. Of course, John's wife, also a well-regarded coach, a former coach as well for the Thundering Herd, and now their son's going to be an assistant coach for the Thundering Herd. So John Mercer joins us tomorrow. I'm looking forward to talking to John, as I always do, and I'm looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. But if I can't talk to you tomorrow, I can talk to you today. You can find me on Twitter. It's called X now, but we're still calling it Twitter. At Paul Swann. And, of course, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch that on our podcast. We do that every day. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or just wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.